Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Image and Wire Show. My name is Jake Fishman. I'm the host of the show and the editor of the Image and Wire newsletter and website. And we have a great show for you today. Really, really big one. We have Jeffrey Bundy, the CEO of United Imaging in North America, with us today, which is a really big deal for me. Jeffrey has deep history in imaging, and he's had a front row seat for essentially a expansion of OEM across America, which is super cool to me. And I can't wait to learn about all of that. So Jeffrey, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Great to be here. And, I'm thrilled to be a part of the conversation. And as you know, we're talking about something today that's one of my favorite things to talk about. So I'm super excited to talk to you today.
Yeah, that's a great point. We're gonna be talking about something that officially we've never ever talked about or even come close to talking about on the Image and Wire show. And we're actually going to keep the suspense going because first I wanted to just learn a little bit more about you and about United Imaging, and then we'll jump right into it.
Sure. So yeah, I've been in imaging for quite some time, even going back to graduate school. So I guess the last millennia, back into the 90s, I was working in imaging and had a chance to have a multiple different positions, a great, very fun career working in mostly in MRI and ultrasound over the years, and now have the opportunity to bring a brand new company to the marketplace and work across all imaging modalities now, including CT and PET CT. And my job really is to find the best way to change the market the way that things should be changed, and to build a company that is set up to delight customers across the United States. And we do it on the back of a foundation, on top of a foundation of a great product portfolio that brings, high quality imaging, high performance systems with great workflow into the marketplace. And I'm thrilled to death to be able to do it because it's just brings a lot of things from my past together. And one of my favorite things to do is try new things. This is certainly a new thing, and to build a team around doing new things. And that's being able to build a team from scratch here and see how they're really changing healthcare and improving healthcare in the United States is super fun.
Here. And as a professional industry observer, it's actually just my job to observe the industry. It's been a real treat to see you do it and to see your team do it and all that you've achieved. So kudos on that. One of the things that I observed is I see more talk about United Imaging's culture than really I see it in any type of healthcare vendor. Which is really interesting and intriguing. And I'm curious if this is something you set out to do or that materialized and how it worked.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, a lot of it goes back to training from my father, who was a business student and a student of company culture and how employees are treated, and just learned a lot through him. And when I had the opportunity to start this job, I was the first employee in the sales and service operations in the United States about 4.5 years ago. And I had some time to think about what we were going to do and how we were going to do it from the very beginning before anybody joined me, and had some, really sat down and thought a lot about how I wanted to build the organization and with whom I wanted to build the organization. And after we had a small group of the management team together, the first time I actually had a management team meeting, Salt Lake City, back in September of 2018, the first thing we did is we spent the first day talking about company culture. What do we want to do? If we're going to create a company that is going to be attractive to U.S. customers, and is going to be built around people, strong people that are motivated to change the market and improve healthcare, what does that need to look like? And we really sat down and we had a complete blank sheet, and we threw out a lot of words and threw out a lot of concepts and ideas, and then consolidated them to what our culture looks like today. And so yeah, from the very beginning, we set out to really live what a lot of people say, that people are number one. And I really believe that, and I believe some people give it lip service and don't really make it a part of how they build an organization and manage a team and expect them to treat customers. And it's super exciting to be able to do that. So yeah, from day one, we started doing it, and we've maintained, I think, that as a big company focus.
So going from day one into, I guess, today, how does one, or how did you create that culture, after the design stage? And then how do you make sure that you protect it?
Yeah, I mean that, I wear a lot of hats, but in my job, and get to do a lot of things directly with customers and work on many different projects. But I think job one is to really build a company that does what customers want, and have to constantly maintain it, constantly talk about it. I think and live it. If I put down a word like authentic, or I put down a word like humility or whatever, then if I'm not that person, if I'm not somebody that when I talk to a customer is something that I mean and I will act on, or if I think based on my title, I deserve something or whatever, then other people are going to feel the same way. And I think that's the best thing that I can do, is where those words that we put down, those things that we said were important, is to live them out and to be an example for them, and also expect that those around me do the same thing, and to hold each other accountable. And when somebody is being an example of one of those things, to call that out and say, hey, great job, really appreciated how you handled that with a customer. Or if there's somebody who's not exemplifying that, then some changes need to be made. And we've made those changes, and we've called out those actions, and we've been continuously true to it. I mean, I don't claim to be perfect, certainly not myself. And I don't claim that our organization is perfect. I just mean that it's something that we try to make intentional. And we're working on some things now where in the near future, we're going to actually have a reward system where employees have an opportunity to reward one of their fellow employees, or a manager or whatever, when they exemplify something that's one of our company cultural elements.
That's really cool. And I guess I was thinking about that 2018 meeting, and one thing that you might not have seen coming in 2018 is the COVID pandemic, right? Which I guess somewhere between 24 and 18 months after that meeting happened. How did you set out to navigate that and keep the culture intact and evolve the culture accordingly?
Yeah, I think one of I said people are everything. When I started, I made the very intentional decision that I was going to find the best people in the country to build this organization, and not the best people who are willing to relocate to Houston, where our headquarters are. And we set out from the very beginning to be a remote, before it was cool, we were a remote working, distributed organization, work from home. And we had, I used to, when I started recruiting, I would tell people, you're willing to stay where you want to live. If you want to move to Houston, you can move to Houston. And there's a number of people who have actually relocated since they started, but didn't relocate to Houston, including me. I started in California, and now I'm in Indiana, but my office is in Houston. So we were, I think, very, very well prepared for that, because we were already living in a setting where everybody was distributed. We were using Teams meetings before everything became required to be Teams meetings, and so I said last week in a meeting, we were talking about how did you cope with the early days of the pandemic. And for me, I tried to make it as normal as possible. I mean, obviously it wasn't normal for any of us, but I tried to just keep living, keep moving. We started traveling as an organization, to be together as an organization in early June of 2020. So when the rest of the world was not traveling at all, we were traveling to Houston to be together, because and to be with customers whenever they're willing to be with customers. But a lot of that was just really trying. During that period of time, I really had the feeling that if we don't intentionally get together as an organization and fight against this, so we're a very vulnerable company. We were very young at that point, and a lot of things stacked up against us. Because considering that we're 4 years old, or get close to be 4.5 years old in the U.S. part of the organization, and 2.5 of that have been buried in obstacles related to COVID. I think we've done a great job of doing that, and a lot of it's just being intentional about getting the group together. We talked about the culture element of it, but one of the things that we do every Friday, and we started this in I believe in 2018. So we're almost on 4 years straight of doing this, and we have only missed a few Fridays. At 2 p.m. Eastern, we have the entire company on a phone call for 45 minutes, and we usually end it, somewhere between 40 and 45 minutes. And we just go around. It's our water cooler in a way. It's our way to stay connected. It's our way for everybody to know what's happening in the organization. If we have people join the organization that week, then they're introduced to the company. If we have a big deal that we won, we talk about that, and we just kind of go through the organization. It's a chance for marketing to talk about any things that are happening in the next week, or the sales team to talk about something, or service, or whatever, and really keep everybody the best we can on the same level of communication, despite the fact that we're 99 people in 99 cities, and we'll be 200 people in 200 cities or whatever over time.
I guess for the audience, we're filming this at 3 p.m. on a Friday, and I can vouch that Jeffrey actually went right from that call to this call. So these do happen.
You are correct. You got to keep moving.
Got to keep moving, right? And I appreciate you spending the Friday afternoon with us. So, okay, for a lot of folks, culture feels like a very internal thing, right? How does it, or does it affect your customers?
I think absolutely, and I think everything that I said from the beginning of this venture, that we were going to build our company from the customer in. So I think a lot of times the companies spend a lot of time optimizing their performance parameters and internal KPIs and measuring those things. And I'm just a strong believer that you can't just say customer first, you have to live it. And so that was one of the things that I firmly believed, that you build an organization that is customer focused, wants to have a certain face to a customer, then they're going to delight customers. I go back to, a great example of this is Southwest Airlines. I mean, long before they were the most profitable airline, long before they were, they were held up as business examples, they were one of the best places to work in the United States. And I follow them. I don't fly them that often, but when I do, it's just a different feeling when you're there with them. And I really wanted our organization to feel differently than the rest of the market does, the rest of the industry does. So we're focused very much on customer pain points, on removing industry pain points, removing pain points between us and our customers, and even focused on pain points that are within a customer and some of the offerings and the things that we're doing differently than the organization. So, and if you don't have an organization that fully buys into how that works and how you feel that, then you're always going to be challenged in trying to provide those elements, or provide a new business offering that fits with that. And so, yeah, I think it's critical that the things that we work on, the things that we say are important, are the things that our customers feel from us.
So say a leader is a leader of a company that obviously they have a culture, but maybe they don't talk about it or think about it the same way that United Imaging does. I guess, how do they go about assessing their own culture, and then also assessing the culture of their vendors, the folks who are, in theory, supporting them?
Yeah, I think, you asked the question earlier, it's about being intentional about it. And I think you have to decide, you really have to take the time to really think about it. And for us, we did, obviously, and we continue to talk about it. The elements of our culture that we decided 4 years ago would be, almost exactly 4 years ago, actually, that we decided would be a part of our culture. We reflect on them, and we have not changed anything about that in the last 4 years, because we took real time to think about it. And we have taken real time to make sure that that's a part of what we are. And I think that's, you take a step back and spend enough time on it and think about it. But also, the key is not just to put it on a PowerPoint slide. The key is to really think about it and reward it in the organization, and promote people who are living it, and have the conversations even with customers about how intentional you are about it, and they should reflect that back to you.
So how do you know if your culture is showing or evident to your customers?
Yeah, one of the things that we talk about is, our customers telling us that they see these aspects in our culture, the way we treat them. And I specifically have asked some customers, what do you see? Do you see these evidence? And if you don't see these things, then we need to have a call about why you don't see these things. And I think the best way that we can, either we're just telling each other we're like that and that we want to be like that, But the best way to know is if somebody comes up to you and says, man, your organization is authentic and I really like working with them, or you're driven and you're very hardworking, or you're a humble organization. And I love to hear those things when they say them to us, because then I know that the people that work for me and myself are living those things out that we have as aspirations and said we want to be.
I mean, if you consider that so much of the modality side, or actually all of imaging, is like service centric, including the beginning of the sales process, your people are part of the product. So feedback on the people in that manner makes the same sense as feedback on the physical products.
Absolutely. And so much of what we have to build at this time in our organization is really a trustful relationship with our customers. We don't have a long history of performance. So we are, very intentional about every single customer being a reference site, every single customer being someone that anybody can call and say, how is United Imaging doing? And I want them to say the things on our culture slide, and the fact that the images are unbelievable quality and the systems are stable, and that the interactions with this company, from the moment we talk to them about the opportunity all the way through installation and training, is a very unique experience. And I think a lot of that is wrapped up in, how do we as people, because it's people training people, it's people selling to people, how are we interacting with them, and who are we as an organization?
For the viewers who'd like to define or shore up their own culture, what are the specific steps that they should take to do that?
Yeah, first I would spend time thinking about what you think customers want from you as an organization, first and foremost, because it's not really about creating one of the best places to work in America. It's about putting together an organization that delights customers. And I think that's the first thing. We started with basically everybody brainstorming what they thought that the best company they ever worked for, what were the key aspects of a company that they would want to work for, and other people they think we want to work for, and what would customers want from us as an organization, and have spend a reasonable amount of time talking with the leadership about how can you say combine some of those aspects and boil it down to something that's digestible, into say 3 or 5 elements that people can act on and can live out day to day together with each other, how they treat each other and how they treat customers. And then monitor and reward it, and continue to think about how can you improve it, because you have to fight to keep it. And if you're not making it better, then it's getting worse. And so, like I said, we're one of the things after 4 years, we've done some rewarding of that through promotions and other activities, but we're having a program starting very soon that very specifically focuses on rewarding cultural evidence.
That's awesome. And this has been great for me. I think and talk a lot about like CTs and PACs and AI and things like that. And those are all super important, but it's the people who make them and the people who deliver them and the people who buy them. And all those things have to be working really well in order for the whole system to work well.
We like to talk about CT and MRI and PET CT as well. We talk a lot about that kind of stuff. It's just the context that we put it in.
Maybe next time we'll talk about those.
That would be great. I would love
it. So thank you, Jeffrey, so much for coming in, and kudos for all you've done in this really innovative way that you've set out to create a special company, and understanding the disruptive strategy you really do have to have a culture to back that up. So I think that's really cool. For the folks who are watching, if you're in the industry and trying to find a company that really kind of wants to do special things with you and nurture you and be working with people who also think that way, check out United Imaging. They might have some spots open considering how much you are growing and trying to grow. And
absolutely.
And thanks for coming in, Jeffrey.
Hey, it's great. Thanks for your interest in the topic, and thanks for the opportunity to talk about it. Very happy to talk about this topic. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye, everyone.